which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room? Like, you giving like the Any Given Sunday Inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like, I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Grant Nelson's staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the fourth number one seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, second overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 a night.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pitch, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bust them, and everybody else in between. A Friday Night Freak Show has begun. We've got a lot of stuff to break down on the program of this evening. We've got a lot of live action to track and to lay it down on as well. We've got the women's Final Four, the men's Final Four. Alexander Ovechkin has tied Wayne Gretzky tonight for most goals ever scored in the National Hockey League at 894. The net was empty late in the hockey game, and Ryan Leonard scores his first ever goal. The irony, it's like the cycle of life. When somebody dies, somebody is born, and instead of Ovechkin breaking the all-time record, Ryan Leonard buries it into the empty net. And it was one of those anticlimactic moments for people in Washington. They were happy the Capitals scored, but the net's empty. If you're a Capital fan, you want to be there for a piece of history, but you were there for a piece of history, right? You were. You just saw him tie the record, which is one of those records where I don't think anybody ever thought anybody would ever really beat, right? It's a lot of goals, 894 goals. In today's era, it's harder to score goals, too. We'll tip our cap to Ovechkin for that. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's political or if it's me, if I'm just jaded or what it is, but I'm not all sentimental about this by any stretch of the imagination. I got to be honest, I could really care less. I've been betting on Ovechkin, but it's not wow, this is great or he's so great and stuff. And I don't even think saying he's a bad guy, but it just seems, I don't know. It's a strange situation. Dominic Hasek thinks he's a very bad person. Right. And, everything is political now, right? You try to keep stuff out of sports and this and that, but everything gets intertwined. And, Ovechkin, he is who he is. I think, you notice I haven't gone after him or done this or that or anything like that. Whatever it is, I'm not going to, he can think what he wants to think. He can do what he wants to do. Just like I can think what I want to think and do what I want to do. But I'm not going to go all crazy about he broke the record. He's the greatest ever or anything like that. Great goal scorer. He's one of the greatest goal scorers ever. We're going to give him this and the greatest goals after he passes Gretzky. Feels strange to even say that. But They're playing the Islanders on Sunday, so he's probably going to break the record on Sunday. He's been scoring all the time. But just from a hockey standpoint, it's good for the game. People, and it is unbelievable that he's not backing into this thing, right? I remember a couple of years ago, I thought, yeah, he's going to get the record, but, he's going to have to hang around to do it. It'll be like, I sort of thought like that. Like, yeah, it'll be at the back end of his career, and he'll bury a couple of goals, and he'll get the record. That's not the case. Like, this dude, he's got 41 goals now. So, like, he's scoring, he's playing at a top level on, arguably the best team. I'm not saying they're the best team, but they're one of the best teams statistically in the National Hockey League. So he's not backing into it by any stretch of the imagination. And you are witnessing history. So you take out all this other stuff and the noise and stuff, you are witnessing history here. And, I guess we can get into it later. Will anybody be able to break his record now after the fact? You never say never, right? Thing with Gretzky is, though, Gretzky had the goals and the assists. That's the difference with Gretzky. Ovechkin just has the goals. He doesn't have the assists as well, but Gretzky was in attendance tonight. So, like I said, all the games already started. Besides, we got the Warriors and the Nuggets coming up here. NBA basketball. It's these nights and days, they all get merged. There's so many games. I'm betting on a million things. I'm watching a million games a day of different leagues. So it's like, was it last night? Was it 2 nights ago? And this, but it was last night, wasn't it? So it was last night that the Warriors were in Los Angeles playing against the Lakers. It was a competitive game. They're going back to back. For the record, the Warriors are 6-6 against the spread this year in playing in back-to-back games. So they're, it's 6-6. It is what it is. There's not a lot to take from that. But, the Nuggets have lost 2 straight, right? The Nuggets lost the wild one the other night when Jokic went off. They've lost 2 straight basketball games. No Murray tonight, but they're kind of used to playing without Murray at this point. I'm taking the 3 points with the Denver Nuggets in this game. So we'll get a piece of the Denver Nuggets. We got UFL football going on right now. And, finally, they connect on a big-time play. All right, we're on the right side of this football game. Touchdown Birmingham, literally and figuratively as we speak. Touchdown Birmingham. This game took a little bit of a turn early. The Birmingham Stallion quarterback, Magoo, got hurt. He got hurt, literally on, I think it was the first play of the game. I think it was. It was the first. He got hurt literally on the quarterback for Birmingham got hurt on the first play of the game. And then Matt Corral came in. But the thing is, Matt Corral was on the team last year and actually won a championship. And, we know Matt Corral. The guy's a 3rd-round draft pick in the NFL with Carolina just a couple of years ago. NFL teams kind of gave up on him pretty quickly. I think he had some, off-field issues to deal with. But he's come in here, and, he wasn't expected to play, but they're starting to dial it up a little bit. So we're on Birmingham. We're on the right side, but we got the over of this football game, and we can't get the over if Michigan can't score. Michigan are getting shut out. Birmingham just went for 2 right now. They didn't get it. It's 18-0. So it's 18-0 for the Stallions. The 4th quarter just started right now. What happened early, too, they got stuffed on the goal line. They didn't score, and that really hurt the total early. But Michigan offensively don't have it tonight. So it looks like we're looking at a split in this game. If you're really a hardcore degenerate and you want to get some action in tonight, we took the Vancouver Warriors, National Lacrosse League, NLL action. Vancouver Warriors, they're just getting going right now. They're taking on the Albany Firewolves in the NLL. So, listen, Vancouver generally suck. Vancouver are terrible in lacrosse, but they're suddenly not this year. They're actually pretty good, and they're playing at home tonight, so I expect the Warriors to get it done on their home, what do you call it? Home field, I guess. It's not home ice. It's a field, but it's not really a field. It's in an arena. Home field, I guess. We'll call it home field. I got to ask a lacrosse expert. What do you guys call this? Is it home field? Home what? Home advantage. Nevertheless, home advantage. Philadelphia Phillies deal the Dodgers their first loss of the year. Dodgers bats have been kind of quiet this year, despite the fact that they're now 8-1. The pitching's been great. Yamamoto was great. thing with Yamamoto, and I said this earlier today about Yamamoto. I said he always gives up an early run. Like, we like the run in the first inning in that game. And he did give up the run in the first inning, but then he calms down all the time. He's vulnerable early. He settles down, but the Dodger bats. Max Muncy wasn't in the lineup. He came in late, actually, and he did pinch hit. But Freeman, they put Freeman on the injured list. So the Dodgers facing a little bit of adversity. They lose for the first time. They were down 3-0. They scored 2 runs in the 9th inning, and it looked like they were going to come back again, actually. Like, there was big-time drama in Philadelphia, but the Phillies get it done. And Sasaki is on the hill tomorrow for the Dodgers. Sasaki hasn't been terrible. Like, he hasn't been getting, like, lit up. It's like, oh, yeah, like they're murdering him. Sasaki has a hard time throwing the ball over the plate. Like, it's in his head right now, whatever. He's got, like, some control issues. So, they're throwing him into the fire tomorrow against Philadelphia. I'll tell you that. We're going to break it down. UFC Fight Night, UFL, NHL, NBA. Let's roll. Bring it.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Let's roll the Friday Night Freak Show, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. I am Gabriel Morency, Sirius XM Channel 159. We've got a great lineup tonight. Lou, Gamblu.com in the house. Rob Vino in the house. Tony Finn with us as well. We'll run the gauntlet. UConn up early on UCLA. Heavyweight matchup tonight. And one of these instances, too, where it was strange, like the UConn Huskies, the women, Paige Beckers and company, they're wearing blue tonight. They're actually the lower seed. Like, so technically they're the lower seed, but they were 7.5 point favorites in this basketball game. South Carolina wins. South Carolina covers. South Carolina advances into the national championship game as defending champions. Meanwhile, the UConn Huskies are in action right now against a UCLA Bruin team that's only lost like 3 games all year. UConn came out hot early, and it's 29-17 right now with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. UConn were laying 7.5. They're laying 15.5 right now in game total. Currently 131.5. So we'll keep our eye on that. NBA basketball, the Warriors and the Nuggets have just tipped off. The NHL markets are closed for the evening. So if you're a puckhead, you want to lay it down, you can bet on the San Jose Barracuda right now, or the Colorado Eagles, the Gulls and the Wild, the Firebirds and the Silver Knights. Before we bring Lou and Cam in, some wild numbers tonight. So Ovechkin scores twice this evening. He was a big favorite to score a goal tonight. It was minus 150. But you just sort of knew, he's going to score goals. So he's tied Wayne Gretzky right now. Wayne Gretzky scored 894 goals in 1,487 games played. Alex Ovechkin is now up to 894 in 1,486 games. All these years, different between these players and all these goals that are scored, it's a 1-game difference. Like, you can't make this stuff up. And what this is even like more mind-blowing, like on the same night that this just happened as well, this is almost over under the shadows. Ovechkin sets the NHL record tonight with his 136th career game-winning goal, surpassing Jaromir Jagr. So it was quite the night for Ovechkin. But it was also quite the night for Aaron Judge. And this is wild as well. Like, this was some crazy sports, like, symmetry here. In Babe Ruth's first 1,000th game as a New York Yankee, he had 321 home runs. Aaron Judge, his first 1,000th game as a Yankee. Tonight was Aaron Judge's for 1,000 game as a Yankee. He's hit 321 home runs. The exact same amount of home runs as Babe Ruth in the exact same amount of games. Some wild stuff. And, Babe Ruth had 4,455 plate appearances. Aaron Judge, 4,355. So Aaron Judge has done it in 100 less at-bats. But that's some crazy-ass stuff, man, that Aaron Judge and Babe Ruth have 321 home runs after 1,000 games, both of them. They play for the same team. Some wild sports symmetry right there. Let's bring in Lou right now, who actually saw Babe Ruth break the record live. What's going on, Lou? How you doing, Lou?
That was great. Yeah.
Love you, Lou. How you doing?
I gotta tell you. No, that is wild ass stuff, Gabe. You called it exactly like it is. That's crazy. I mean, you can't think that stuff up for it to be like that. Especially the Judge and Babe Ruth stuff.
Yeah, 1,000 games. Like, these guys literally, too. Babe Ruth was playing in the 20s, into the 30s, etc. So we're talking literally 100 years later. 100 years later, the new home run king for the Yankees in exactly 1,000 games. It's just like, and the Wayne Gretzky and the Ovechkin stuff, difference of 1 game. Like, just wild stuff. I don't know if you guys saw the end, but Ryan Leonard ended up scoring his first ever NHL goal instead of Ovechkin. The net was empty. Everybody in the arena wanted to see history. They got the history at least. They get to see the all-time tying goal. They win the hockey game. Ovechkin and the Capitals are on to New York right now. They get the Islanders on Sunday afternoon.
The Caps got to get this over with, Gabe. They got to get this behind them and get their focus to where it needs to be. They got to get this past them and ASAP.
It's a good point, Lou. Mm-hmm. It's a great point, Lou. Earlier in the year, it was almost like driving them, right? It was like, wow, he's hot, but the team is playing great. But good call, Lou. it seems like the last 2 weeks or so, it's become a sideshow with Gretzky in the arena, and just it's about, it's all they're talking about constantly. And you're right, Lou, if you look suddenly, dude, they were down tonight. They came back and won. They got their ass handed to them last weekend by the Buffalo Sabres. Right? Like the Capitals have been shaky over the last couple of weeks. They're not playing their best hockey going into the playoffs, and it is all about this Ovechkin stuff right now. So good point, Lou. They got to get it out of the way and start thinking about the Stanley Cup instead of like this personal record.
ASAP.
Cam?
I mean,
agree.
if you look at the odds in the conference, you
Yep.
see that the Washington's the third or fourth odds in the conference have the best record. That doesn't happen too often, guys. There's a reason for that. This is weighing heavy. They got to get
Same with Winnipeg, though, Lou.
Start to play
It's
hockey.
strange.
And Winnipeg, forget about Winnipeg. It ain't going to be Winnipeg, and it ain't going to be Toronto.
Hey, Lou,
I hit you guys with this every year.
No. Then you're going to tell us the Dallas Stars are going to gag. But hold on.
No, I'm not. I'm done with that goaltender too. I don't think that Hellebuck can be in the second season what he is in the regular season.
We're heading to a
He
break,
hasn't
but
before.
the problem is with this Ovechkin stuff, and we'll go over it, Gabe. Hockey, you need to be a fine-tuned machine. Everybody has to read each other's mail. And when you rely on one guy and stuff, it screws up the whole system. Lou's right, you're right, and they got to get this thing done. Probably will get it done against the Islanders.
It's a long year. They're just a little bit tired, too. You see with the Jets.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
4 number ones, 4 champions, 4 teams that battled and clawed their way here. But here's the thing about 4 number ones. Only one can truly be number one.
Incredibly difficult.
When the stakes are highest, there's only one place to get all your betting insights. SportsGrid. We've got you covered until only one remains. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All right, we blew your mind with some early numbers on the program. Now we'll try to blow your mind with some winners on the program. Everything's already started tonight, except, the Nuggets and Warriors game. That's like the sole sort of late, drop the puck, tip-off, etc. College basketball, we got the Final Four tomorrow. You got the women's Final Four going on right now. We're late in the first quarter. UConn are really starting to pull away right now. They're up 39-22. They're up 17 It's a damn good UCLA team. I have a UConn future on their own, and I have a UConn ticket parlayed with the Duke Blue Devils to win the NCAA tournament. But talking to everybody this week, everybody thinks Duke's going to lose to Houston tomorrow. Before we get to the UFC, Lou, you're you like to you're a Renaissance man. I know you focus on football, hockey, and fighting, Lou, but we know you got WNBA futures and a lot of other things in your pocket. So you always catch us off guard. But as far as the Final Four is concerned, any opinion on that? Like just being an underdog better like you are in your blood like it is, are you attracted to the Houston Cougars against the Duke Blue Devils tomorrow?
Honestly, Gabriel, I have no clue about any of it. I filled out a bracket and I, as usual, was out in a week.
Once Arizona was out, you were out.
It's really not my thing. I don't get it. I don't watch it. And I really use this time for UFC, so I can't contribute at all. I would think that if I could find it, I'm sure I'd pay a price. If I could find, I'll take Duke against all the others. I think maybe that's what I would do, just because I think it would be a safe bet.
What about the NFL draft? Do you bet on the NFL draft?
No, honestly, I think many look at the draft oppositely that I do. My belief is my NFL season starts the day that the draft is over, because at that point in time, I can assess each team, what they've done in the offseason, what they did in their draft, and at no better time will I get a better inroad into how that team sees itself than that day right there. Too many people try and predict what an NFL team's going to do betting on the draft. To me, that's Aesop fables. NFL teams, here's a news flash. NFL teams aren't letting out and telling people what they're doing in the draft. It don't happen, people. It exasperates me that all these people bet the draft. It's a windfall for the books. People, don't do it. There's 1/10 of 1% can make money at it. The rest of you, forget about it.
Well, though, Lou, and I understand. I do agree. I agree for the first time. We can't agree all the time. You know what I mean? But I agree with the first haul of it, of what you were talking about. But as far as the draft is concerned, it is one thing. I was going to say that NFL teams, they're also very illogical, right? It's hard to predict what they're going to do, right? Just because you think they should do something doesn't mean they're actually going to do it. We see NFL teams with weird draft picks all the time. But I will disagree in the sense that the sports books are vulnerable with the draft, Lou, because it's not a computer. It's not an algorithm, very similar to MMA, where I think they're vulnerable, and they'll admit it. Like Adam Schefter can go on the Pat McAfee show and say something and it's going to move the number. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? Like they're really at the mercy of the media. Like there's no sportsbook director, like the head of FanDuel or something, doesn't secretly have some pipeline with the NFL teams that he knows who they're taking. He does not know, right? Like he's, so they're sort of on
the gambler. Nor does the gambler, unless the key is information. Whoever has the information has the ace of spades in their hand.
Yeah, but there is something to knowing what GMs do, right? And, not like the reports, like a mock draft. So I'm going to bet this because I see a player's on a mock draft. But if you have a good feeling over the years of a team and how they operate in a draft, I think there can be value, Lou. But I do agree. The part I agreed with was as far as the assessment is concerned. Like too many people, I think they look at these drafts and they think like they plug players in. Oh, this team drafted this player, and they're going to have him and this and that. And most of these rookies don't contribute, right? There's a handful that actually do. But like you said, Lou, that's where you see what the team actually thinks about themselves going into the year. Are they trying to win now? Are they trying to plug a hole? Are they building for the future? And then you get the Giants. No one knows what the hell they're doing.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
4 number ones, 4 champions, 4 teams that battled and clawed their way here. But here's the thing about 4 number ones. Only one can truly be number one.
Incredibly difficult.
When the stakes are highest, there's only one place to get all your betting insights. SportsGrid. We've got you covered until only one remains. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that river. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Pimps the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. 18-9 right now for the Birmingham Stallions over Michigan. So one cool thing, you can get a 9-point play in the UFL or a 9-point touchdown and 3. Like you can go for 3 from the 10-yard line. It's an interesting format. Like I think it's from the 2-yard line, it's for 1. From the 5, it's for 2. And if you're desperate, you're trying to add 3 points on, you get 9 points with a score. So they're actually technically down a score right now. I'm on Birmingham +1. I got the over 38. The game started off really slow, and it's opened up late here. There's still 7 minutes left in the game, but I'm not sure if it's going to get there. Rob Vino loves betting on the UFL, so Rob will be with us a little bit later. Lou loves betting on the UFC. So, Lou, fight night, I always ask you this question first, actually, about the card from a betting perspective and how much you like it or not when you first look at it. To me, that's always the tell, right? It's like the Sunday night in the NFL when you're watching the games and, the games start to end. You're like, all right, I'm going to take a look at next week here. You take a look, and it's always that first impression. For me, Lou, I've always found with the UFC, my first impressions are usually right. If I'm unsure, I'm usually wrong in the end. If I change my mind or I don't it's sort of like right away I sort of know. What's it like for you? Do you sort of massage it and come up with picks, or do you sort of know right away when you look at a card if you like it or not from a betting standpoint?
Yeah, that's a really interesting position, Gabriel, because I don't know that I look at it card by card. I look at it fight by fight. So a card might have 2 fights that I think I can really attack, or it might have 6. So that I suppose that does affect me on the card. This one has 2 really good ones, and yesterday it had 3 really good ones. But today, one of the kids, I had this Englishman, Davy Grant, at a big underdog price. He was 1 plus 115, 120 by the time it got to today, and weigh-ins happened. And a funny thing happened on the way to weigh-ins. Daniel Santos didn't even weigh in. So that fight's canceled, and the advantage that we worked so hard to get is gone. So that's a fight.
What, was he so overweight he didn't bother?
Yeah,
why did he
what's the deal?
What happened,
I
Lou?
don't know. To me, what Gabriel just said seems to be the most logical response. Could the kid, if he got sick, they would have told us. I think eventually we'll know, especially if Grant gets a fight against somebody else in a week or two, which I hope he does. I always feel for the fighter in this situation, but we had parlayed Grant to a fighter last week and had him at better than 2-1, and so now we pick up a quarter of a unit when we were going to be competing for 2+ units. It's sometimes the gambling game can work for you and you're giddy, and sometimes it can be frustrating. It is what it is, you know.
I don't want to speculate. Who knows what happened? But there could be an instance too where sometimes guys try to make weight and they're not well. Right? That's another thing. They could have been pulling up and going, you know what? We can't roll them out here, right? And we don't want to go to the hospital. Like I've told a story before behind the scenes that there was a UFC fighter that basically was on the verge. Like he had to go to the hospital and he was in the hotel room the night before. And the manager called somebody I knew and he asked him, where the hell can I get a bunch of IVs and this and that and all this? And they were like, what's going on? He goes, we got a little medical emergency in the room. And they're like, go to the freaking hospital. He goes, no. If we go to the hospital, they won't let us fight tomorrow. Right? Like, so you know what I'm saying, Lou? There's a lot of stories behind the scenes, right? Like that we don't know about.
No question about it.
For the record, too, I'll throw it out there. It was Kyle Noak. That was the fighter. And for the record, too, I bet a lot of money against him. He nearly won. We were lucky. Like the judges robbed him, too. And it was against Patrick Cote. And it was one of those deals where sometimes too much information can kill in MMA, I found. Like I know, Lou, you go to the lab and stuff, Lou. I know in Arizona and stuff. And so I know you'll know things that you don't even talk about here or whatnot. But I used to know like everything about stuff. Like, oh, yeah, he just got into a fight with his girlfriend, like in the car out of the way, like whatever. And it overwhelmed me at times, Lou. I was like, I don't even want to know all this stuff. It's blowing my mind.
Yeah, sometimes too much info, it can be bad. And I've been in a situation where I've seen a guy on the scale be weak-kneed Willie and bet against him, and sure as hell he hydrates like Superman in 18 hours and kicks my guy's ass. So,
it happens all the time.
Believe me, it's never easy. But overall, to me, that's why I don't release my positions until after weigh-ins. And this show being at night, way after weigh-ins, gives me the opportunity to share all the knowledge I have because I watch those weigh-ins. I look for weak knee Willie and those guys that are shaking all over. There was one last week in Mexico, and it was a dead winner for us. So I'm trying to roll all that into advantage. We still have 2 underdogs, I think, that are live on this card, and then a couple other thoughts that on fighters where we can get some better advantage than what the line is anyway.
I watch Golf Channel and they went up and go, this guy is shanking balls like he had a hangover and drank 2 bottles of Jameson. They go, no, like he can't even hit it straight. He's all over. First round leader. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of these things. Like these guys are athletes. Sometimes they just go through something and it's like, okay, we can get it back together. So when I listen to this stuff, I'm kind of like you and Lou. I want to block it out because I think a lot of the time it's just BS reports. You know what I mean? It's just like go with your gut. Like don't listen to people. It doesn't work. That's my.
Well, it's in you don't know, right? You could know something about one guy, but we don't know about the other guy. So you can't measure too much. Same thing with like players that go out all night and stuff. A lot of players go out and they win, they lose, and it's not because they went out or not. But speaking of underdogs, Lou, so you got Murphy's a big favorite against Josh Emmett, who's a really tough dude, the little bulldog type of dude here. Murphy, one of these British guys that, fought a lot of tomato cans, padded his record, but you can't take away the wins that he's got in the UFC now, Lou. So, how good is this dude? He's got an incredibly gaudy record right now, and now he's got Josh Emmett, sort of the tested vet, right? To see the gatekeeper, right, so to speak. What do you make of this fight? Is Murphy too big of a favorite here, Lou?
In my opinion, yes, he is. He's the 10th ranked featherweight. Emmett is the 8th. Emmett is the guy that's fought the elite of the division. Emmett went a full 5 rounds with Topuria, got the brakes beat off of him, but he was there at the end. He's tough, he's durable, but he's 40. Okay, and so they're discounting him for that. He's coming off a fight that he had over a year ago. They're kind of discounting him because he's taken so much time off. And you know what? Between you, me, and a fence post, for a 39-year-old guy, a year plus off ain't going to hurt him, especially if we remember his last fight. He annihilated Bryce Mitchell. He disintegrated him. The guy's got unbelievable power. The thing about it is that Murphy's younger, taller, longer, more athletic, and survives by picking and pecking people from distance. He's going to use his distance to try and gain a decision. I don't believe in my soul that he has the power to stop Emmett. And I got to wonder, can Emmett catch up to Murphy? And I think he can. This is too big a price on Emmett, plus 250, 260. I think you got to give him a try. Everything he has goes into this fight, because if he loses, he's out.
Great breakdown, Lou, and I agree. And I'm also very frustrated that I can't bet the total, the handicap point spread of these fights.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
4 number ones, 4 champions. 4 teams that battled and clawed their way here. But here's the thing about 4 number ones. Only one can truly be number one.
Incredibly difficult.
When the stakes are highest, there's only one place to get all your betting insights. SportsGrid. We've got you covered until only one remains. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I don't like snitching people and repeating what we talk about during the commercial breaks, but as I stated about Lou sneaky. No, I don't bet that. I'm focused. And Lou just casually dropped that he's got 2 UFL division future winners, Cam. Right, so that's what I'm saying. You got to shake them up a little bit, and then the tickets start coming out. Oh, I forgot about that one. Oh, yeah, I got a little piece of that.
Well, you guys, you degenerate weasels, as Bovee calls us. Yeah, we bet on everything, but we know, Lou, you got some picks up your sleeve. You can't trick us. Come on. You love
If it flies, I'm shooting at it, fellas.
Well, one thing I like about the UFL, especially for futures too, is It's only a 10-week season, Lou. That's what I like about it. It's one thing I like about college football futures, too. NFL is going to be 18 weeks soon. It's going to be like, oh, God, it's long, right? College is 12 games. You get paid like basically 8 weeks in. Now, you know, by week 10, you kind of know. Like by week 8, you know whether you're going to win or lose. You know, that's what I like about the UFL. 10-week regular season, 2 playoff games, boom, your championship odds and whatever. All right, so I was saying, Lou, I really, and you know what? We're not sponsored by a particular book on this show, so we could speak freely about books. And I'm, you know, and where I am, I can't bet at FanDuel or DraftKings now. You know what I mean? It's I just can't do it. And, you know, the geo block type stuff, and it's incredibly frustrating because they seem to be the two, Lou, that do the point spread handicap for UFC fights that you're absolutely murdering on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I've really drawn my attention into that opportunity because it's new for them, relatively new for us. But now as I'm starting to be able to count on the inconsistency of judging, it's a really excellent way to protect your underdog bet. For instance, some weeks ago, this kid Marshall, he was a plus 240 or something underdog. He won the fight, but he didn't get awarded. He lost a split decision. So he's a loser on the 240 where we had a small bet, but we vomited on the points plus 3.5. And that was an opportunity for us to cover poor judging. And that's what I'm finding. These points will help us insulate yourself from a poor decision. If your kid comes out and in my handicapping, all I'm trying to do is diagnose a fighter that's going to show up on Saturday night and for whatever reason, give us his absolute best. If I can get that, and then, oh, by the way, there's a plus money signal next to his name, that's a bet for us.
Lou from Gamblu.com in the house with us talking UFC fight night. So as we stated, we got Emmett in the main event against undefeated Murphy, 15-0-1, 7-0-1 in the UFC. But Lou, I know you've got your eye more so on the co-main event from a betting perspective. So talk to us about the Brito and the Sabatini fight. And is this one of the fights where you are going to apply the round prop here and get some points?
I think this is really a fascinating handicap here. Brito Sabatini. Brito is a bully Brazilian, and yeah, he's decorated in BJJ, but really what he is a bludgeoning, numbing killer with his hands and knees and kicks. He's aggressive, and he's a bully, and he's got 6.5 minutes of unbelievable effect in him, and after that, he's still very good, but he can tend to slow. Now, he was in Mexico last week, training altitude. He says he wants to get ready for this fight. And in his last fight, he went to France and beat a Frenchman and got completely jobbed on the decision. I had the Frenchman, and I shouldn't have won the fight. Brito is a bad hombre. Now, he's getting this grappler from Philadelphia who's a vice grip American wrestler. High IQ, high pressure. He can fight for 30 rounds, let alone 3 rounds. The issue with Sabatini is that he has a paper mache jaw, and he's been iced a couple times if he hit him flush on the face, and that's Brito's trademark. Sabatini's going to have to figure a way to get inside quick, hard, and easy and force Brito to use his energy defending the wrestling instead of at distance striking Sabatini. So where this fight goes is going to really be a lot of how the fight, who will be in control of the fight. On the ground, Sabatini, and on the feet, Brito. However, 3-round fight, it's 1.5. On the DraftKings, Sabatini getting 7.5 points. In my handicapping experience and how I see this fight going, the longer it goes, the more decision it has, and the more decision it has, it gets close.
It's basically just hoping he doesn't get knocked out, right? And as you stated, the sort of contrast of this, Lou, yeah, you're hoping he doesn't get dropped early, and the contrast, as you stated, it sounds cliche for people tuning in, but the way it plays out is Brito's looking to knock this dude out early, and he could, right? He could. Or he also could get taken down and drawn into a wrestling fest for 15 minutes, right?
Exactly. And here's what I've done. We have Brito in parlays. We have Sabatini on the points. Am I getting piggish trying to eat both sides of the plate of potatoes? You're damn right I am, because I minimize loss. One's going to win and one may not win, but I might get both. If this is a decision and it's a close decision and Brito wins it, I'm going to hit the Brito money lines. I'm going to get the Sabatini points. This is what I'm trying to do. It's high reward for very little risk.
All right, there's another underdog that Lou likes as well. But the next fight on the card here, Lou, what do you think about this with Ho Lee? You know, you have two fighters with not a lot of UFC experience. Like, how do you approach this? Do you know these fighters? Do you have an angle on this fight? There, you got a 1-0 fighter and an 0-1 fighter going head-to-head here.
Yeah, I don't know much about him. Lean to Ho Lee going into it. However, 6 minutes after weigh-ins start, Romeus wallows out for a 135-pound fight with the 136-pound limit at 139.5. The guy's cheating. Didn't even try and make weight. So I'm going to let that one pass. Romeus is cheating.
Romeus is a minus 138 favorite right now. We'll hit Mearshart and Tavares on the other side. Let's roll.
An impressive debut it was for Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals. He ended up having the most strikeouts of anybody thus far in a Major League Baseball game this season. Buy or sell, George? Mackenzie Gore will be a top 15 fantasy baseball pitcher this season. Top 15. Buy or sell?
You know, these questions are made up by Sam Yarnell, our producer, man behind the glass here. Who's a Washington Nationals fan here? You ever get the feeling that he just made this where you have to say bye, all right? Because top 15? Yeah, I think he'll be top 15. Come on, Sam, make it top 10. Make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe even top 5. Yeah, I think he's got the upside to be that. Once again, he is a good pitcher anyway. Once a top prospect here, you're pitching in a good pitcher's ballpark here. I think the upside is there for him to be much better than top 15. Top 5 may be pushing it, but I think he'll be inside the top 10. So yes, I am all on board the Mackenzie Gore train.
All right, yeah, I think that I am going to buy this too, man. I don't know. He's just, and again, it's not just that one start for me. I mean, I think I have the video somewhere. I was like literally sitting behind home plate for one of his starts in Palm Beach, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff looks really, really good. Yeah, I'm going to buy it too. I think he's a potential Cy Young Award candidate. As George said, you're dealing with bigger markets and bigger names with LA and some of the other teams. Arizona's got some great pitchers too. But I think he's definitely in the mix. And look, do I think he's a top 2 guy? No. Do I think he's a top 15 guy? Yes. I'll buy that. As his season, I think, is going to be a special one for him.
Fantasy sports today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. We'll get down to business here. We're going to a couple more minutes with Lou. Here's a fighter, too, with Brad Tavares that, man, Lou, this guy's been around a while.
I love it.
Right, this guy's been around a while. Thinking back to, like, you know, I'm bad with years right now, but I'm going to think, all right, we're in 25 right now. Like, this guy's been around a long time. Like, I used to have him on MMA Meltdown. So I'm going to say this guy started fighting in, like, 2008 or 2010 type of deal. Let me see when his first fight was. All right, 2007 as an amateur into The Ultimate Fighter, 2010. Boom, I'm pretty good. It's a long time, Lou. He's been around, man. 15 years in the UFC. That's not easy, bro.
Hawaiian, natural fighter. He had 150 fights before he even got to the UFC. Best thing about this guy, the best thing about Tavares is the reggae music he listens to on his way out. I mean, the guy always
He's all peaceful. Huh? He's listening to reggae walking out there.
He has killer reggae music. Every walkout's a different reggae tune. That's what makes me like him. Meanwhile, Mearshart is a veteran on his same level. You're exactly right, Kim. Mearshart is craftier, though. Well, where Tavares can throw hands and wants to throw hands and he'll wrestle, Meerkat isn't really that interested in throwing hands. He wants to try and duel you, dance with you, and find you into some form of mistake, usually after the first round when you get tired. And he'll go for a neck or an arm, and he's deft at doing it. And so we have a really awesome fight between two guys that are both surprised they didn't fight each other 8 years ago, for crying out loud, but they get each other now. Do I have a lean in the fight? I mean, no, I love Tavares because of the reggae music, but Meerkat is crafty, and he's a plus 160.
He's 37, Lou. You want to talk about two crafty veterans? That's old, Gabe. That's impressive, man. That guy's still giving her. That's impressive.
They both are. It's going to be a great fight to watch.
Is that so
but
much
I don't
the
think
age,
I
though?
can bet it.
Yeah,
because you do have guys that are in their late 30s that they even peak, right? But the difference is they didn't fight a lot before. Right, it's more the years than your age, Cam, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? There's some guys, they're 37, 38, and they just became a champion for the first time. But it's like my boy Heath Herring, actually. Well, that's why I laughed out loud when you said, Lou, and he had 150 fights before, whatever. I remember, like, Heath told me once, he goes, man, I'm just tired of this, bro. He goes, I've been fighting a long time. And I said, yeah, you know what? Your pride in UFC. And he goes, bro, I was fighting in barns in Texas when I was 14 years old against grown men. Right? And he goes, I fought all the way through barns into like Pride. And he got kicked in the head by Fedor a couple of times, like soccer kick style down. Like he went through it all. He goes, yeah, I got hit once in this barn in Texas when I was 16 by this old dude. And like, he was like 30. He goes, I've been fighting for more than you guys know. Like basically, there's a lot, behind the scenes, but let me ask you, Lou, quickly, and we'll get to your other fight that you like. Tavares and Mearshart, how about the over in the fight, Lou? It's minus 150 to go the distance. Feels like both these guys are such warriors that I'd be surprised if he gets stopped.
Couldn't agree more. I totally agree with that take. I don't think Tavares can get him out with strikes, and I don't know that Mearshart can catch up to Tavares for a sub because of Tavares's wrestling acumen. So it looks to me like a 3-round, judges. And again, why wouldn't you look at the points here? Mearshart plus points is probably a plus. It's a great consideration. I'm telling you, I think in time they're going to take these points away, or they're going to get way more refined in allocating them.
Keep beating them while you can. And if you're out there, jump on. I wish I could. All right, Lou, before we get you out of here, what's another fight or two that you like? We got about 2 minutes here.
Early on in the card, there's a Romanian fighter fighting out of Italy called Frunza, and he's taking on a guy named Reese McKee. McKee's been in the UFC twice. In his first stint, 0-2. This is his second stint. He's 0-2. This is his third fight. Here's what I can tell you. He's longer, taller. He's very well-rounded. And he's a capable, good fighter. He fought all the way back to the UFC for a second stint. This guy has ground game, striking, and his partner, the Italian, only has power and can't spell. Reese McKee, desperation and focus, is in a really good position in this fight. Don't let the record fool you. He's in a good spot as an underdog. Reese McKee.
Gamblu.com. Follow Lou on X at Gamblu. Thanks, Lou.
Take it easy, Lou.
What an impressive debut it was for Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals. He ended up having the most strikeouts of anybody thus far in a Major League Baseball game this season. Buy or sell, George? Mackenzie Gore will be a top 15 fantasy baseball pitcher this season. Top 15. Buy or sell?
You know, these questions are made up by Sam Yarnell, our producer, man behind the glass here. Who's a Washington Nationals fan here? You ever get the feeling that he just made this where you have to say bye? All right, because top 15? Yeah, I think he'll be top 15. Come on, Sam, make it top 10. Make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe even top 5. Yeah, I think he's got the upside to be that. Once again, he is a good pitcher anyway. Once a top prospect here, you're pitching in a good pitcher's ballpark here. I think the upside is there for him to be much better than top 15. Top 5 may be pushing it, but I think he'll be inside the top 10. So yes, I am all on board the Mackenzie Gore train.
All right, yeah, I think that I am going to buy this too, man. I don't know. He's just, and again, it's not just that one start for me. I mean, I think I have the video somewhere. I was like literally sitting behind home plate for one of his starts in Palm Beach, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff looks really, really good. Yeah, I'm going to buy it too. I think he's a potential Cy Young Award candidate. As George said, you're dealing with bigger markets and bigger names with LA and some of the other teams. Arizona's got some great pitchers too. But I think he's definitely in the mix. And look, do I think he's a top 2 guy? No. Do I think he's a top 15 guy? Yes. I'll buy that. As his season, I think, is going to be a special one for him.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Level 2, this is SportsRage. I am Morency, SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. I was going to say, how many people, like, how many am I the only one? I don't think I'm the only one. I think Rob Vino, maybe, like, how many of us, like, real degenerates are sweating out a UFL total right now and thinking, all right, you need the score and you need the 3 or the 2 after, but they're kicking a field goal instead. Son of a... So it's 21-9. They're at 30. They're going for the 39-yard field goal with 30 seconds left in the game. It's pretty lame. So they get the field goal. They get the field goal, and, man, the scoring started too late. Let's bring in Rob Vino. I don't know. Maybe Rob is sweating this out. On the plus side, I am on Birmingham, Rob, so it's not all lost. So how you doing, Rob?
I'm good, buddy. I was all in for my lungs on Birmingham. I didn't have a piece of the total. I thought 2.5. Despite the fact that there's no key numbers in UFL, it just seemed like Birmingham got caught up in a mess on week 1. And Michigan, you know, the final score, that 26-12 over Memphis, a little more deceptive because it took a 80-yard interception return with 20 seconds left to really put that thing away against a really bad team. So Birmingham, yes, they scared me for a while, though, Gabe, I'll tell you. Until that fumble recovery on the punt, I was like, USOBs are going to get me here, aren't you? I thought for sure Michigan was going to get the punt and maybe score another touchdown and cover.
What did you think when Magoo went down on the first play of the game? Like, you know, he didn't play that well last week, right? But so he needs to get back into it. I guess, and I thought of you, Rob, because I was like, well, there's no Adrian Martinez for us to kick when he was down. Cam used to defend him. You guys leave Adrian Martinez alone. And then me and Rob, we won, and we were like, Adrian Martinez rocks. He's great. But then,
You're like, Martinez, this guy's sucking.
But Matt Corral,
give him a break. He's good.
All Matt Corral does is come in and save Skip Holtz, though, Rob, huh? Last year in the title game comes in, now Magoo goes down. And I'm thinking, what did you even bring Magoo back for? Just make Corral the quarterback. But what did you think when Magoo went down? Were you worried about the bet? I sort of thought, no, we're good. Corral's going to be fine.
I thought the same thing. I didn't like what I saw out of Magoo. He didn't play last year, right? So I wonder if he's just shaking off some rust. But I swear to God, it's funny when you said you thought of me because I had texted or messaged on Twitter, on X, to you, And then I wiped it off. I had Matt Corral in capital letters after he threw the 73-yard touchdown pass to message you. And then I said, no. I said, you know what? You're going to jinx the ever-loving hell out of yourself, so rip that down. And I did. I wait for the final. But, I'm not worried when Matt Corral's in the game, honestly. He threw a couple of bad interceptions. He picked on the D-back 14 way too much. He should have been going away from him. But I'm not worried with him in the game.
So Birmingham just wins. They just took the knee, 21-12 final score from Detroit. I posted my pick that I did, and I played a 3-team money line parlay. And I'm going to lay the points in these games as well, but I just wanted to get ahead of the numbers. Sort of like to put like a, the sort of the teaser, the parlay of the week together type of deal in these leagues. So I took pretty simple, Rob and Cam. If you want to tail Cam, I think we're going to make money on this. We'll see if Rob disagrees here, but I don't want to jinx this and put, and say that and it's impossible, but Memphis are in trouble, right? So Memphis are in trouble. DC looked good last week. It's a good football team DC has. They got continuity on offense with the quarterback in the system, continuity with the coaching staff on defense. They had one of the few teams in the league besides St. Louis that actually has a home field. And the fans like it. They get drunk and they do their beer snake and stuff. And they've got a little atmosphere going on there. So I think DC are going to win. Hell, I think they're going to cover, but I think they're going to win the football game. And then you look at Sunday's games, Houston might be Houston would get, they're bad. Like they're bad. They went 1-9 last year. They were almost worse last week. It was like you guys actually got worse, not better. They brought in 16 new players, and it's not helping. And then you got the Brahmas at the Battlehawks. San Antonio working in a new quarterback in Kellen Mond. The offense team kind of really lost last week, Rob. So I'm looking at a 3-team moneyline parlay. It turns out to be minus 112. DC Defenders, Arlington Renegades, St. Louis Battlehawks. What do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to argue, Gabe. After what we saw last week, it's really hard. I would say in the case of DC, we saw it last week. Greg Williams is Greg Williams. The only type of defense he knows how to call is a blitz, and they're going to blitz the ever-loving heck out of Memphis.
It's so true.
He does it every play cam in this league, too, but just from different sides. It's just constantly.
You've been in football for decades. Do you got any other plan? Like a zone, soft zone? No, the guy, he can't help himself. He can't help himself.
Nah.
He's crazy.
And the showboats can't protect, so they're in trouble. I don't think this is disagreeing, but I will say that I'm still not. And last year, I know we talked about this a little bit. Jordan Ta'amu, he just seems good enough to work the team from 20 to 20, and then inevitably he turns potential touchdown drives into field goals. I don't know what it is with this guy. He'll make a couple of really nice throws on a drive, and then he'll make a couple of really lousy ones when it counts. But still, they should get through the number in that one at home. Arlington, I think, they look like they have the best offense in the league. That thing was humming last week, and San Antonio's defense is no joke. So I think Arlington, and you already mentioned how bad Houston is. And then the last end of that would be St. Louis. How about the way St. Louis's offense looked? Fantastic. I think, if there's one over that I might get to out of those 3 games, Gabe, because I think the 2 favorites defensively will be dominant in their games. So I'm a little afraid of the overs. But St. Louis, San Antonio may get there. San Antonio may have enough offense. And I would say this as well. If guys can find team totals on UFL football, the Houston-Arlington game works out to 14.5 to 24.5. 24.5 for a team total for Arlington just seems way too low. Seems to me like they could get to 27 plus.
Man, we got Rob Vino dropping UFL team total bets and Lou from Gamblu.com giving us UFC point spreads, and I can't get in on either. I'm looking right now. I don't have team totals, Rob. I want to cry. I'm getting sad here. Like son of a bitch. I can't get in on this.
That's upsetting because you love to do that.
You might find it game day, Gabe.
What, Rob? You know what I do? I do have touchdown scorer props, though. I didn't notice this before. I got to be honest. I do have touchdown scorer props for the UFL. Let's see, touchdown scores. No passing props. I agree, though, Rob. Look, I had Luis Perez on. We're gonna get him on next week or the week after. Just letting the season get going here. But So we had Luis Perez on at the Super Bowl, but like I talked to him about this. Remember, Rob, 2 years ago, Arlington, like they were supposed to win. They weren't, you know what I mean? They weren't very good. He came in. They ended up winning the championship, even though they went like 4-6 in the regular season. Last year, they didn't have a good year. There was 3-7. The wheels fell off and stuff. But you look at them last week, Rob, and we're not just saying this. Like you said, I agree with you. Like, that offense was crisp, bro. Like, he was dropping back. He was throwing bullets. Everybody was open. Everybody was running hard. Guys were getting open. Who is it? Balaj, the ground game looked really, really good. Like, they look like, oh, wow, this is the Arlington team people thought was going to be like a powerhouse 2 years ago, Rob.
They really did. The only problem I have with them is so many penalties still, Gabe. Like, how many times are you going to get
They're all lines.
if you're Arlington?
They're all lines, yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, you can see Stoops was just, what are we doing here, guys? But they overcame them last week.
I just have a vision right now of the lineman kind of shrugging his head last week after the one of many penalties.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. We're going to get to the Final Four with Rob Bino, but just talking about the UFL Week 2. So tomorrow, the Memphis Showboats. Wisenhunt was hired as the coach of Memphis, but he left like the night before the season started, or 2 days before. So it kind of left them in a weird spot. They're kind of talent challenged, too. They do play hard, but they're kind of talent challenged, especially on offense. So DC are laying 7.5. I agree with Rob, though. DC can be hit or miss, right? Like, DC seem to be good live dogs, but when you count on them to cover in their offense, they, like Rob said, it's a field goal fest, and it gets frustrating But they do have a little bit of a home field advantage. It'll be a tough trip for Memphis. DC did look great last week against Birmingham. The Houston Roughnecks are bad. Like, they went 1-9 last year. I thought, Rob, that, who's the quarterback? Is it Henderson or Nolan? What the hell's the guy's name?
That's him, Nolan, the Delaware kid, Nolan Henderson.
Yeah, Nolan Henderson. I like what he did last year when he came in late in the season. Remember their offense? It went from 13 points a game to 21 points a game. Showed a little bit of a spark. He was a big-time quarterback at Delaware. And then they don't start him now this year. Like, this coach, and it's funny because they fired everybody, basically. They brought in a new GM. They kept the coach, Rob, but they basically they brought in 16 new players. We see this in the CFL often when they bring in all these dudes that's never been in the CFL before. It blows up and it doesn't go well. This is a bad football team. I know it's 10.5 points, Rob, but I could see Arlington beating them like 30-3 or something like that.
Yeah, especially because, you watch them at the line of scrimmage in that game, Gabe, and they were just getting run over by St. Louis. Hand the ball off, get 8 yards. I think St. Louis probably had over 400 yards in that game, if I remember right. And this is the UFL where time clicks away pretty quickly. You don't get as many offensive snaps, but they were just moving Houston out. It's funny you mentioned the coach because there were a couple of shots of Curtis Johnson on the sidelines in that game where he just, I know he's a mild-mannered guy, but he doesn't look like he even knows where he is. Like, am I at the field? Am I in a restaurant? Where am I? It's kind of crazy to look at him. And you kind of imagine.
Well, as long as he's the coach, and I don't want to pick on him, but remember we talked about the other night. That's what Rick said. He goes, I don't think, he's mic'd up, too. And like you said, it's just, they need a new coach, right? They need a whole new, they need to start over this franchise. But it's almost like a pitcher. As long as he's there, we got to sort of pick on him. This number, Rob, was what, 8.5? I don't know what you saw it at. I saw it at 8.5 earlier in the week. And now it's 10.5.
Wow.
Yeah, and we know it doesn't take a lot to push those lines, Gabe, but still, you get, and by game day, last week, the lines moved quite a bit. On game day, people realized, hey, UFL something else I could bet besides the Elite Eight parlay that.
Yeah, the Sweet Six, the Final Four will be off on Sunday too. There'll be the women's game, but people are going to bet these games. So San Antonio and St. Louis. Listen, Wade Phillips, a good coach. We know, he normally has an elite defense and stuff. Their offense was pretty bad last week. So it was Kellen Mond's first game in the UFL. Kid from Texas A&M, Minnesota Vikings draft pick. He's got talent, but. It was rough last week. So, what are you expecting in week 2 here? Are you comfortable laying 7.5? That's why I went money line. Like, if I was going to lay the points in one game, I think Arlington are going to kill Houston. But St. Louis, like we talked about, Beck is a good coach. They literally are going to get 25, 30, 35,000 people at this game. They really do draw in the dome here. It's a wild atmosphere, and the Battlehawks will run the score up if they can. But can they against San Antonio? What do you think about the last one? You said you think you can get the over, right?
Yeah, because I just feel like, and we talked about this probably last year, Gabe, where they don't have any preseason here. And I look at the talent especially in the ground game. John Lovett for San Antonio, and then the kid from Maryland, the breakaway threat. I'm missing his name right now. But they've got receiving talent that they upgraded. They've got running talent, obviously. The quarterback's pretty good. Kellen Mond, when he's not throwing those balls that are killing 6 worms on their way to the receiver, but he's pretty good. I expect that they're going to increase the offensive production. At some point in time, their personnel's too good to look as bad as they looked offensively last week. So maybe I can squeeze an over out of that one.
Rob Vino in the house with us. So speaking of overs, it's all but over for UCLA. 68-41 right now with 6 minutes left. The UConn women on a roll, and my parlay is alive. I got Rob, I played a UConn women to win it all, Duke to win it all. But just like this week I played it, so in the Final Four. But it was plus 269 odds. And then I also played a separate ticket on UConn to win at minus 115 as well. UConn are rolling right now. Looks like this game is going to stay under the number. And we got the men's Final Four tomorrow. What's your excitement level from a betting perspective, Rob, for the games tomorrow?
I had said this earlier, Gabe. I think if these 4 teams were in a rotating 5-game series, like round robin style, I think every single series would go 5 games. That's how close I feel these teams are to one another. There's not a lot separating them all. So it truly is one of those on any given night, right, where this Final Four is concerned. I think my favorite side bet is probably Florida. I think Florida's 3 points better. They're laying 2.5. I think they're 3 points better than Auburn. Of course, they know each other inside and out, but I just feel like we saw Walter Clayton, dear Lord. I mean, they were dead to rights against Texas Tech, and this kid put him on his back and rode them into this position. They've had a couple close calls. I went over the schedule that they both played, Gabe, and if you throw out the low majors that they started with, I feel like Florida's played the slightly tougher schedule, and all their offensive statistics, as good as our eyes tell us Auburn has looked in this tournament, all the offensive statistics, Florida's been better than Auburn. And especially at the free throw line, Florida's hitting like 79% of their free throws, Auburn 64. If it's a 2.5-point number and it comes down to the foul line, I'd rather be on the Florida side with their guards. If anybody could go cold, I would think maybe it's the Auburn perimeter shooting rather than Will Richard and the Florida perimeter shooting. So that's the way I see that game, and I'll wait till we come back on the other side for the other one.
Yeah, we'll hit the total of that game as well. It's a high number in Florida, and you're getting into these cavernous stadiums. You're playing for the Final Four. Is the first half under potentially worth a look? You're right about Florida, man. Clayton looked like Steph Curry late. Like, he does have that clutch gene in him. Man, that was super impressive.
What an impressive debut it was for Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals. He ended up having the most strikeouts of anybody thus far in a Major League Baseball game this season. Buy or sell, George? Mackenzie Gore will be a top 15 fantasy baseball pitcher this season. Top 15. Buy or sell?
You know, these questions are made up by Sam Yarnell, our producer, man behind the glass here. Who's a Washington Nationals fan here? You ever get the feeling that he just made this where you have to say bye? All right, because top 15? Yeah, I think he'll be top 15. Come on, Sam, make it top 10. Make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe even top 5. Yeah, I think he's got the upside to be that. Once again, he is a good pitcher anyway. Once a top prospect here, you're pitching in a good pitcher's ballpark here. I think the upside is there for him to be much better than top 15. Top 5 may be pushing it, but I think he'll be inside the top 10. So yes, I am well on board the Mackenzie Gore train.
All right, yeah, I think that I am going to buy this too, man. I don't know. He's just, and again, it's not just that one start for me. I mean, I think I have the video somewhere. I was like literally sitting behind home plate for one of his starts in Palm Beach, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff looks really, really good. Yeah, I'm going to buy it too. I think he's a potential Cy Young Award candidate. As George said, you're dealing with bigger markets and bigger names with LA and some of the other teams. Arizona's got some great pitchers too. But I think he's definitely in the mix. And look, do I think he's a top 2 guy? No. Do I think he's a top 15 guy? Yes. I'll buy that. As his season, I think, is going to be a special one for him.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The pits, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bust them, everybody else in between. All right, so Rob, you're leaning with the Florida Gators. What about that total? You know, you and I love betting overs, but I'm not, I think it probably gets there, but does it start off a little bit slow? Or, is it too high for you? This is a Final Four game. We can look at a lot of numbers during the season and even in the tournament and stuff, but you never fully know, how players are going to react in a moment or what the pace is going to be. Plus, these SEC teams are going to hunker down and play some defense here. I imagine, too, I agree with you about Auburn with the free throw shooting. They're not as crisp from three either. So I would imagine Bruce Pearl does not want to get into a track meet with the Florida Gators. I could see Auburn sort of half-courting it, and they want to play a football game on the basketball court here. I see the first half total of Florida and Auburn is 76. What's your take on the first half number and the game over-under, Rob?
Yeah, 76 does seem a little heavy, Gabe. You're asking for 38 aside. Of course, these SEC teams make big numbers look small all season long, but I'm just a little concerned when you have this many days of prep, right? This isn't one of those where you only have one day in between in this tournament to get ready for your next opponent. They've had all week. They know each other inside and out. And it's nice that Janai Broome is healthy, or at least claims he'll be 100% healthy. But they like to run their offense through him, and Florida has the bigs that can kind of contain him with Condon and company there. So I don't know if he can go off in this particular instance. I'm kind of with you. I would love to be able to just play over and be confident in it, but I'm really not. I think that this one might have a stretch or two of maybe, let's say, 2.5, 3 minutes where we don't get a lot of scoring. And when you're looking to get to 160, that's a long time to not have any points.
Duke and Houston, 54-51 last year. I kind of throw that out. They're both different basketball teams. Houston are much better offensively, and the Duke Blue Devils are a completely different team this year than they were last year. So I'm not really putting too much into that, Rob. The total's 136.5 here. The Cougs are getting 5.5 against the Devils. What do you think about this game?
It's hard to lay points, that many points against Houston, right? I mean, the initial reaction out of anybody would be, Houston, Duke, Houston make it a rock fight, 58-55, whatever. But I don't know that I see it that way this year, Gabe. Honestly, I don't know. As good as Houston is defensively, what we're seeing right now, I don't know if you can stop Duke from scoring theirs. They're just so efficient. Whether the game's played quickly, methodically, I don't really care. Duke is so efficient at scoring. At trips down the floor, they're going to get their points. So to me, I think Houston's going to have to score a little bit to stay with them in this game, and I think they can because you got the three guys in the starting lineup, the three perimeter guys all shoot 42% or better from three. Cryer, Uzo, and the other kid's name I'm missing right now. But I think they can score enough. I think Duke will impose their scoring ability on Houston and just force them to chase. To me, 136.5 looked a little bit low. If we get into a free throw shooting contest at the end, we can probably get over that number. So I probably think differently than most on that one, where I look at the over as being a pretty good play there.
Rob, it's always a pleasure. Before we get you out of here, Dodgers, big underachievers. Can't believe they lost tonight. They're very disappointing. Very disappointed in them. They nearly came back again. But now Freeman is on the 10-day injured list. Tomorrow, Rob, it is interesting to see Sasaki in Philadelphia on the road, right? This kid has had anything but a soft landing, right? I mean, a lot of pressure in Japan. Hell, even Yamamoto got hit last year in Japan in his debut. And then, the Dodger game last week, second game at home or whatever, and there was the banner night, or they gave the rings, and he was seeing, his eyes were watery after he got taken out of the game. Now you're going into a hostile market in your backyard. Are you going to any of these games this weekend, Robin? What do you think about Sasaki and the Dodgers tomorrow?
Yeah, I won't be at any of these games this weekend. As much as I would love to see the Dodgers up close here, I tell you, Gabe, you talk about underachievers. The other day I'm looking, and I had totally forgotten when they march out Tyler Glasnow as like their number 4 starter. I'm like, are you kidding me? How good is this team? But
he's pitching Sunday.
Being in Philadelphia, it's a different environment. We'll see how Sasaki handles it, but I like his stuff. And Philly's not exactly tearing the cover off the ball to start the season, so maybe Dodgers can get an underdog win there.
Nah, you know what? I left the under on the table today, unfortunately, in this game. I thought it was going to go into the number. Really, the Dodgers only hit like 234 coming into tonight. Thank you, Rob. WagerTalk.com.
an impressive debut it was for Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals. He ended up having the most strikeouts of anybody thus far in a Major League Baseball game this season. Buy or sell, George? Mackenzie Gore will be a top 15 fantasy baseball pitcher this season. Top 15. Buy or sell?
These questions are made up by Sam Yarnell, our producer, man behind the glass here. Who's a Washington Nationals fan here? You ever get the feeling that he just made this where you have to say bye? All right, because top 15? Yeah, I think he'll be top 15. Come on, Sam, make him top 10. Make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe even top 5. Yeah, I think he's got the upside to be that. Once again, he is a good pitcher anyway. Once a top prospect here, you're pitching in a good pitcher's ballpark here. I think the upside is there for him to be much better than top 15. Top 5 may be pushing it, but I think he'll be inside the top 10. So yes, I am well on board the Mackenzie Gore train.
All right, yeah, I think that I am going to buy this too, man. I don't know. He's just, and again, it's not just that one start for me. I think I have the video somewhere. I was like literally sitting behind home plate for one of his starts in Palm Beach, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff looks really, really good. Yeah, I'm going to buy it too. I think he's a potential Cy Young Award candidate. As George said, you're dealing with bigger markets and bigger names with LA and some of the other teams. Arizona's got some great pitchers too. But I think he's definitely in the mix. And look, do I think he's a top 2 guy? No. Do I think he's a top 15 guy? Yes. I'll buy that. As his season, I think, is going to be a special one for him.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. The Friday Night Free Show continues. Thanks to Rob Vino for joining us. So we've got the Final Four tomorrow. UConn are about to win right now against UCLA. They're up big. They're going to cover the number. The total is up in the air, though, right now. There's a lot depending. This is one of these deals depending on when you bet it. And it was like 135 at tip-off. And, of course, I got in at like 137.5 a couple of minutes after tip-off, even though I like the over. It's been one of those days for me today where it's been a couple of bets. I didn't get in. I'm like, I bet it in-game and this and that. You always got to be careful when you miss the tip-off. You want to, you don't want to bet a bad number after. It's really close. Come on, finish this off, girls. Finish it off. Oh, my God. You can't make this up. I was just about to win my bet.
Oh, my God. The turnover.
Yeah, you see that, Cam? The UConn girls had a breakaway. There was like 3 of them. On the layup, I would have won the bet.
Exactly. I'm like
and
you
now
today.
UCLA quits. Just shoot the ball. You're losing.
Exactly. 5 seconds.
Oh, my God.
Put up a 3. I hate that stuff. You know what? I'm
the
on your
UConn
side,
girls
too.
had a breakaway, and they stumbled and bumbled, and then they turned it over. Unbelievable.
I don't even have money on this game, but you know what I always learned when I played sports? Play till the end. Like, you're losing, just shoot. There's no dribble it out. Like, just do it.
The thing is, there's 5 seconds left. She had the ball. What's the point of not shooting? Just shoot the damn ball.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
Ugh.
Yeah.
85-51. 7-point favorites. They won by 34. Yeah, this team is unstoppable. Like, UCLA only lost 3 times all year. UConn are destroying teams. I look forward to seeing the number. Me and Rob Vino were just talking about what we thought the number was going to be. I said, I think UConn will be 3-point favorites against South Carolina. I don't know. Maybe after people just saw this, they'll make it higher. But don't forget, South Carolina are the defending champions.
You're right, Gabe. The Lady Gamecocks are amazing. They're great every year. But you know what? This UConn team is special right now, and they're in sync. I think the line's going to open. I'm thinking 4.5. That's my guess.
Let's see, they don't have a number yet. They will. One more game tomorrow. Troy and Buffalo women. Is that the NIT or the WBIT?
Buffalo. Yeah. That's amazing. Dude,
yeah, the Buffalo women are into the final of one of these things.
They're good.
I don't know if it's the NIT. Well, I don't know if they're good. I never followed Buffalo women's basketball before,
No,
but
they
they seem
don't.
to be on a good run.
You're right, Gabe. No, I get commercials. It's like, we'd like to thank the Lady Bulls for you know what I mean? Like, you know, the local stuff, and they're really pimping the Lady Bulls hard. Like they've done well. They're good.
Yeah, so they're into the WNIT Fab Four. They don't call it the Final Four. They call it the WNIT. I think you got to hand it to them, man. There's a lot of these tournaments to bet on right now, and the crown of the court stuff continues as well. The Guardians and Angels are tied at 4, the bottom of the 5th inning. In-game total is 12.5 right now. The Angels are minus 170. I actually kind of like the Angels tonight in this game. I should note, too, I retweeted the story out. I believe I did. I don't know if I did. I think I did. Whatever. If I didn't. But we've talked about this in the past, about the Angels' name. And they, you know, it should be Anaheim. Like the Ducks play, like the Anaheim Ducks and the Angels. It's right there, like same place. Like Anaheim embraces, the Ducks embrace Anaheim. They have the color orange, you know, for Orange County. Right, they really push it. They're the Anaheim Ducks. They don't pretend like, oh, yeah, we're L.A. Yet the Angels, for whatever stupid reason, are calling themselves the Los Angeles Angels. And finally, the mayor of Anaheim just called them out today and basically said, you guys got to change your name to Anaheim. Like he said, if you want anyone in this city to care about you, you know what I mean? How about you name the team Anaheim? I don't have a problem with it. I think the Anaheim Angels, but for me, if I was them, I would call myself the California Angels. That's what they were before. We'll bring Tony Finn in. Growing up, Tony, as a kid, that's what they were to me, the California Angels. Great name. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. And if I'm, the California Angels, like, I would be glad to be able to steal the name California. I'd be like, no, we're getting the entire state now. We're the California Angels. We'll sell hats all over the state, to non-Dodger fans, right? Anaheim is cool because it's your town, your city, but to me, the California Angels is the way to go. Well, Los Angeles Angels is stupid. It's just stupid.
California is absolutely the way to go because soon they're going to be their own country, and then you'll have, you'll be the California Angels.
Tony comes out swinging with a hot take.
Oh, Tony, that was one of your best, Tony. That was just an absolute thing.
Right?
That was so good.
Hey, okay, for speaking of that, forget about California. I was thinking about this too. We'll stay on point, but I'm like, dear God, if I'm Ohtani, I'm like, man, I don't know about the fact that I deferred this $700 million contract, the way the economy in this world is going. I'd be thinking, man, I don't know if this league's going to be here for 10 years from now, Cam. Like, I wouldn't be happy, like, suddenly, watching all these stock markets crash and everything going on, knowing that someone owes me $700 million. I'd be like, really? I really should have not deferred this. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. But he's not some ordinary
But then you got a strike.
He's got
you got a strike lockout coming up, too. Don't forget, Tony, and two, there's going to be a strike after 2026, guys, or lockout, whatever the hell you want to call it. They're colliding again, and even the owners don't get along. So you're going to have the players fighting with the owners. The owners going to be fighting with the owners. The commissioner's an idiot. Like, baseball could be in trouble in a couple of years. But all that being stated, who do you like tonight, Tony? I think the Angels are going to win this game for the fine people of Anaheim.
I'll join your bandwagon. I'll take the Angels too. But your comment about baseball, the strike, etc. We've had this conversation, you and I, Gabe. Baseball owners may be the worst. You can go back to the time they colluded and got in trouble for collusion, saying, listen, don't sign this guy or this guy. When free agency became a bit of a pain in their, their arse. And you just don't see. It's rare that baseball owners are at games. I mean, it happens, don't get me wrong. But it's not like a Mark Cuban. It's not like the NFL owners who are in their booths, et cetera, et cetera. I like your comments about
Look, all you need to know about baseball owners,
strikes.
They are the worst because the other leagues actually have a salary cap where there's a bottom. They got to spend money, right? Like the baseball owners are making so much money, and then they cry. Like Rob Manfred said, "Oh, Major League Baseball is like a business in Cape Cod. We're just a small-time business industry." I mean, you're a small-time summer business. Yeah, he compared himself to like a cottage. And he goes, "We're like some business in Cape Cod. We're like a small summer operation." It's like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? You don't sell that to Fox when you want $3 billion from them for whatever. Like, right? Like, but the disconnect here with the owners, they don't spend any money. They don't want to spend money. And they're the ones ruining the game. Like, the Pittsburgh Pirate owner got booed today. He was walking around, and people were like, sell the team, dude. Right? It was their first game, and he's already – you have all these owners in baseball that are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year by not spending money on players. They don't want a salary cap. Like, nobody will, but then at the same time, like Tony said, they collude with each other, right, to hold salaries down. Right? So they have a problem, but the thing I was going to say about owners the most is – a lot of these, like, owners cry and stuff. Like the Rockies guy, the Pirates guy, blah, blah. There's all these dudes crying in baseball. They don't want to sell their team, though, do they? Right? Like, there's not one baseball team for sale right now. Like, if this was such a bad operation for you, right? Like, no, not a team is for sale. Yeah. Even, the loser guy from Oakland and Sacramento, he got a free pass in Vegas, right? The Tampa guy sort of wants to sell, but he wants enough money for it. And even he's, like, not running to the window to sell. He's like, you better blow me away with a deal. Right? Like, they don't want to sell. So,
Was Baltimore the last team to get sold, or was it the Mets? Well, they were pretty close to each other. I know Baltimore recently. At least they're trying to. Yeah. But
the Mets sold Wilpon and got, the guy got part of a pyramid scheme. He had no money.
What an impressive debut it was for Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals. He ended up having the most strikeouts of anybody thus far in a Major League Baseball game this season. Buy or sell, George? Mackenzie Gore will be a top 15 fantasy baseball pitcher this season. Top 15. Buy or sell?
These questions are made up by Sam Yarnell, our producer, man behind the glass here. Who's a Washington Nationals fan here? You ever get the feeling that he just made this where you have to say bye? All right, because top 15? Yeah, I think he'll be top 15. Come on, Sam, make it top 10. Make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe even top 5. I think he's got the upside to be that. Once again, he is a good pitcher anyway. Once a top prospect here, you're pitching in a good pitcher's ballpark here. I think the upside is there for him to be much better than top 15. Top 5 may be pushing it, but I think he'll be inside the top 10. So, yes, I am all on board the Mackenzie Gore train.
All right, yeah, I think that I am going to buy this too, man. I don't know. He's just, and again, it's not just that one start for me. I think I have the video somewhere. I was like literally sitting behind home plate for one of his starts in Palm Beach, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff looks really, really good. I'm going to buy it too. I think he's a potential Cy Young Award candidate. As George said, you're dealing with bigger markets and bigger names with LA and some of the other teams. Arizona's got some great pitchers too. But I think he's definitely in the mix. And look, do I think he's a top 2 guy? No. Do I think he's a top 15 guy? Yes. I'll buy that. As his season, I think, is going to be a special one for him.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
Four. I did click the Angels, and then the Guardians got the bases loaded. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But those bases were loaded. They got out of it, and now it's still 4-4 right now. Suddenly the Angels are plus 100. The Guardians are minus 130. I've never been to a baseball game in Anaheim. I've been to the stadium before. I've been to football games there, but I've never been to a baseball game. First time I went there, too, I got lost. I was with this dude that didn't know where the hell he was going in his car. And I'm like, I don't know where the hell we are. Like, Orange County's confusing, too. Like, I've been lost Every time I go to Orange County, I got lost, actually. I have a story
And
once. We got
Pasadena.
lost. And Pasadena, exactly. We got lost, like near the parking lot of the Anaheim Arena once. We were going to a UFC, and by the time we got there, it was like, man, there's only 2 fights left. Screw this. And we just went to a bar, like near the arena. It was like went all the way there. We didn't get in, like turned into a big circus. But, I remember once we followed the blimp. Like, we were kind of lost, and I told my buddy, I said, look, there's the blimp. I said, the blimp's going to the football game for sure. We followed the blimp.
Morency. Always follow the blimp.
Yeah, I knew the blimp. It was Tennessee and Colorado college football game, college kickoff classic. We follow Disneyland's right there and stuff. It's all in the same area.
You and I, Cam, we're all spoiled when it comes to games like that. I tell you, I got about 10, 12 years ago, I had a neighbor in Kansas City in that area that had a brother who was one of the pace car drivers, one of the 2 pace car drivers, okay? And when I could get pit road tickets to any NASCAR event I wanted. I mean, not just pit road tickets. I mean, there are passes to get me anywhere. Pit row, the cameras. It was amazing, these tickets, right? So Susie and I, my wife and I, get the tickets to go to the Vegas Speedway, much like you're saying. We got into the cab on our way to the Vegas Speedway. We're leaving Bellagio. We jumped in the cab and said, we're going to the race. How long is it going to get there? He said, well, it's about 20 minutes by crow, about 2 hours and 20 minutes right now with traffic. She looked at me. I looked at her and said, can you let us out? There's a bar right here, and we're just going to watch the race from the TV. That's how spoiled, we are with tickets. You were just saying you get lost.
I don't even understand what you're talking about. What do you mean you're spoiled?
That's a long story for the punchline.
He was saying, no, I don't care. Just follow the blimp. We're lost. Who cares? Follow the blimp. We'll find a bar. It'll all be okay.
It will be.
I know in the end, it'll be okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, Tony. So, San Francisco today, that was a wild game against Seattle. That's 5 in a row they've won. If you look at the surprises so far in Major League Baseball, you look at the NL West, all right, the Dodgers we knew were going to be good. San Diego, I think some people thought were going to be, regress. I didn't really think that. I don't think the players care if there's drama with the ownership group. What do they care? Their checks are still clearing. Like whether the sister or the brother or the uncle, whoever ends up owning the effing team and sells it or whatever, like the owner, for people wondering, the owner died in San Diego last year. Good guy. He's put a lot of money into the team. He's from L.A. Tried to get a real rivalry going. Seidler put a lot of money in. Died. It's one of these deals now where he left the team to his family. They don't want to own the team, but they can't, you know what I mean? Who gets the money when they sell it? That's the thing. These families that are rich, speaking of spoil, like you're all rich and they're all so greedy all the time. Right? Exactly. Like people, whenever someone dies and you have a bigger thing, they're all like, oh, I'm going to get a lawyer and I get the percentage and all. Like, so
Great
you got this big drama there. But if you're a player, it doesn't really affect you. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The San Diego's a hot team. They're going to sell to someone else. You're still getting paid. Your contract's guaranteed. What do you care if the sister and the brother don't get along type of deal? So San Diego are good, but San Francisco's a little bit of a surprise, guys. It's 6-1. Arizona 5-3. Colorado suck again, as always. I'm a little bit personally surprised that the Reds are 2-6. How about that, Tony? I'll ask you. San Francisco and the Reds. The Reds at 2-6. Thought they'd get a little bit of a spark with Francona.
Well, I'm assuming that you've talked. I know you've talked a little bit about this 1-0, 3 games in a row. How rare that has been. Twice in the history, I think, of baseball, at least in the last 125 years. And those are the way the ball bounces. It's early, as you mentioned. It's early. There's no crowd in Baltimore. The Kansas City Royals are in first place in the Central at 3-4. Now that's no surprise, is it? that division. Minnesota's really struggling. The White Sox have 2 wins already. Come on,
that division. Remember, we always thought that division sucked, and it actually got good. Now it sucks again. 3-4, 3-4, 2-4, 2-5, 2-5. Yeah. It's good. It's good to have summer back. At least summer here already, almost, and baseball, because there's just so many moving pieces. Do you like anything tomorrow
in baseball?
Do you like anything tomorrow in baseball?
I do. I do like. I'm going to go right back to what I think what you talked about. We talked about it earlier this week, not with you, but the Royals, I think they'll start playing a little better, pitching a little better. In this division, it's wide open. I'm not really a firm believer in Detroit. Minnesota's struggling. Cleveland can pitch. They can they defend. They're even hitting the ball a little better, but they still are offensively challenged. I like the Royals tomorrow. And is that, if I'm not mistaken, afternoon game? I think they beat the Orioles again.
A little bit of a modern, you know what I mean? A little bit of a minor surprise to it. Like I said, it's way too early to talk about this stuff, but it is and it isn't. The Angels 4-2 start, right? I mean, baby steps for these guys. Hell, they win tonight. They're 5-2, right? Their win total is 71.5, so they're off. It's sort of chip away with that. Yeah. All right, so we'll give you our Final Four picks coming up. Tony, what do you got tomorrow in the Final Four? Who do you like?
I like Houston. That's I think it's a bold statement. I just think this is the clash of styles. Duke, their metrics, defensive metrics are great. They're great. In fact, they're the only team left that has a top 10 in both efficiency, offensively and defense. But Houston's a different animal, and I think we talked a little bit about last week. This is the team to beat, in my opinion. And when you're going to face Houston, there's not going to be one comfortable possession for this Duke offense, half-court offense. Give me Houston. I'll take the points in Houston. I'll take a sprinkle a little on the money line as a straight-up winner. I like them to win the whole thing.
Wow.
As far as the Florida game goes, no, I'm not the other side. I like Florida.
That's a tough game.
An impressive debut it was for Mackenzie Gore of the Washington Nationals. He ended up having the most strikeouts of anybody thus far in a Major League Baseball game this season. Buy or sell, George? Mackenzie Gore will be a top 15 fantasy baseball pitcher this season. Top 15. Buy or sell?
These questions are made up by Sam Yarnell, our producer, man behind the glass here. Who's a Washington Nationals fan here? You ever get the feeling that he just made this where you have to say bye, all right? Because top 15? Yeah, I think he'll be top 15. Come on, Sam, make it top 10. Make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe even top 5. I think he's got the upside to be that. Once again, he is a good pitcher anyway. Once a top prospect here, you're pitching in a good pitcher's ballpark here. I think the upside is there for him to be much better than top 15. Top 5 may be pushing it, but I think he'll be inside the top 10. So yes, I am well on board the Mackenzie Gore train.
All right, yeah, I think that I am going to buy this too, man. I don't know. He's just, and again, it's not just that one start for me. I think I have the video somewhere. I was like literally sitting behind home plate for one of his starts in Palm Beach, and I was like, wow, like this guy's stuff looks really, really good. I'm going to buy it too. I think he's a potential Cy Young Award candidate. As George said, you're dealing with bigger markets and bigger names with LA and some of the other teams. Arizona's got some great pitchers too. But I think he's definitely in the mix. And look, do I think he's a top 2 guy? No. Do I think he's a top 15 guy? Yes. I'll buy that. As his season, I think, is going to be a special one for him.
Fantasy Sports Today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. All right, so I want to try to get a point spread here for the women's game on Sunday. Paige Beckers and the UConn Huskies keep on rolling. The point spread is out, and whoa, it is 6.5 points. UConn favored by 6.5. We grabbed them at minus 115 earlier in the week to win the championship, but we took it. I took a Duke UConn parlay as well, a plus 269. So they're minus 265 on the money line now. So UConn are minus 265 to win the championship. The defending champion, Gamecocks, plus 210 right now. These odds are up at FanDuel. Total 133.5. All right, Cam, what's your picks for tomorrow, the final 4 games?
I like Duke and the over. I think a lot of people are talking about this game being, it's going to be a real rock fight. I disagree. Second game, I'm kind of with Tony. I lean Auburn, but I don't like it, and I think that total might be too high. But I'm all in on Duke. I got futures on him.
I'm going to take the this first game is super, super, super tough from a handicapping perspective, from a betting perspective. Listen, the whole thing of betting on sports is there's a million games a day in all these leagues. We all bet, I bet more games than I should, right? And I'll admit it. But the thing is, you got to pick your spots and stuff. But this is a Final Four game. People are going to want to bet it. It's there. But you really cannot get any tougher than this. No. It's funny. People just keep going back to Florida. I kind of get the feeling, Florida's coach, I like him. But there's been some real helter-skelter moments for the Florida Gators through this tournament. They've been if you look at this tournament, Auburn have never really been challenged that much, right? I thought they were going to be, but they really haven't been, right? Michigan gave them a game; it was tied at the half, and then Auburn just destroyed them in the second half. Auburn, people thought, Michigan State, and they won that game kind of easily. I think it wasn't as close as the score indicates. I kind of get the feeling also, I think people are counting on Clayton this time. My gut feel tells me that it's going to blow up for Florida here and that Bruce Pearl's going to get to the title game. Give me the 2.5. I think the over gets there, but I do like that under 76 in the first half. I think there could be some late points, a flurry, but, it's a high total of 159. I think the Houston-Duke game, 136.5, will get there. I don't think we have a 54-51 game again. I think, we'll get into the low 70s type of deal. I think Duke will get into the low 70s. And I'll lay the 5 with the Duke Blue Devils, even though I have a piece of them to win the championship. I'll post some baseball picks in the morning. And as far as the football is concerned, UFL football is back tonight. We go 1-1 this evening. We split. We had the side. We lose the total. Tomorrow, the DC Defenders host Memphis. We'll lay the 7.5 with the DC Defenders. Not really in love with the total. If I had to, I think it creeps over the number. Houston Roughnecks and the Arlington Renegades, Sunday at noon Eastern. I think Arlington are going to murder Houston, lay the 10.5. I think they'll win by 20 or 25 or something. And then you got the San Antonio and St. Louis game. Listen, I think the 7.5 is a little bit high. But I do think St. Louis are going to win the game, and I think the total can get there at 39.5. We moneyline parlayed all 3 favorites as well to minus 112. Tony, Major League Baseball tomorrow. You got anything that catches your eye more than anything else?
The Royals and Walker is who I really like tomorrow against this Baltimore team, who's really hitting right-handers. They're hitting right-handers fine. They've struggled against lefties, but I just like this is a nice setup for Walker and the Royals and Witt and everything that's going on in baseball. Give me the Royals at plus money.
Sasaki is plus 100 tomorrow. Aaron Nola minus 118. So the Dodgers are actually underdogs. What do you think about that one, Tony?
Yeah. Oh, what do we do? The Dodgers lose their first game of the season tonight, right? I don't think they lose their second game of the season tomorrow. I'll take the Dodgers. So I take the Dodgers almost every night minus 1.5 until they show me that they're not better than everybody on the planet, right?
I don't know. You said second game of the season tomorrow. I don't think they're going to lose second game all year. There you go. 161-1. 161-1 on the way out. They do have a ton of injuries. All right, so the Valero Texas Open odds. Brian Harmon is the favorite now at plus 200. Keith Mitchell is plus 800. Cantlay, 11-1. Berger, 16-1. And I swear, Tony, if you drop some Russian golfer joke, I'm going to cut your mic.
Yeah, we don't have the time.
Who do you like, Cam, in the Valero here to win now?
I'd watch out for Matt Wallace, but I'm already on. I think Patrick Cantlay is dangerous at 11, and I'll give you women's match play. Brooke Henderson, the Canadian lady, 12-1. She's on fire.
All right, thanks to Tommy in Master Control. Other than that, you're on your own later.